An Avenger, a short story by Anton Chekhov, read by Ibrahim Yaşarcan Aygar. Shortly after finding his wife in flagrante delicto, Fyodor Fyodorovich Sigaev was standing in Schmuck and Company's The Gunsmiths, selecting a suitable revolver. His countenance expressed wrath, grief, and unanswerable determination. "I know what I must do," he was thinking. "The sanctities of the house are outraged, honor is trampled in the mud, vice is triumphed, and therefore as a citizen and a man of honor I must be their avenger. First I will kill her and her lover, and then myself." He did not yet chosen a revolver, or killed anyone, but already in imagination he saw the three blood-stained corpses, broken skulls, brains oozing out from them, the commutation, the crowd of gaping spectators, the post-mortem. With the malignant joy of an insulted man he pictured the horror of relations and the public, the agony of the traitress, and was mentally readying and leading articles on the destruction of traditions of the house. The shopman, a sprightly little Frenchified figure with rounded belly and white waistcoat, displayed the revolvers, and smiling respectfully, and scraping his little feet, observed, "I would advise you, monsieur, to take this superb revolver, the Smith & Wesson pattern, the last word in the science of firearms. Triple action with ejector. Kills at 600 paces. Central sight. Let me draw your attention, monsieur, to the beauty of the finish. The most fashionable system, monsieur. We sell a dozen every day for burglars, wolves, and lovers. Very correct and powerful action. Hits at a great distance and kills wives and lovers with one bullet. As for sacrifice, suicide, monsieur, I don't know a better pattern." The shopman pulled and cocked the trigger, breathed on the barrel, took aim, and affected to be breathless with delight. Looking at his aesthetic countenance, one might have supposed that he would readily have put a bullet through his brains if he had only possessed a revolver such a superb pattern as a Smith Wesson. "And the price?" asked Sigaev. 45 rubles, monsieur." That's too dear for me." "In that case, monsieur, let me offer you another make, somewhat cheaper. Here, if you kindly look, we have an immense choice at all prices. Here, for instance, this revolver of the Lufshore pattern costs only 18 rubles. But—" The shopman pursed his face contemptuously. "But, monsieur, it's an old-fashioned make. They are only bought by hysterical ladies and mentally deficient. To commit suicide or shoot one's wife with a Lufshore revolver is considered bad from nowadays. Smith Wesson is the only pattern that corrects style." "I don't want to shoot myself or to kill anyone," said Sigaev, lying sullenly. "I am buying it simply for a country cottage, to frighten away burglars." "That's not our business. What object you have in buying it?" The shopman smiled, dropping his eyes distractedly. "If we were to investigate the object, in which case, monsieur, we should have to close our shop. To frighten burglars, Lufshore is not a suitable pattern, monsieur, for it goes off with a faint, muffled sound. I would suggest Mortimer's, the so-called dueling pistol." Shouldn't I challenge him to duel? Flashed through Sigaev's mind. It's doing him too much honor, though beasts like that are killed like dogs. The shopman, swaying gracefully and tripping to and fro on his little feet, still smiling and chattering, displayed before him a heap of revolvers. The most inviting and impressive of all of them was Smith and Wesson's. Sigaev picked up a pistol of that pattern, gazed blankly at it, and sank into brooding. His imagination pictured how he would blow out their brains, how blood would flow in streams over the rugs and parquets, how the traitress's legs would twitch in her last agony. But that was not enough for his indignant soul. The picture of blood, wailing, and horror did not satisfy him. He must think of something more terrible. I know, I'll kill myself and him, he thought, but I'll leave her alive. Let her pine away from the stains of consciousness and the contempt of all of surrounding her. For a sensitive nature like hers, that will be far more agonizing than death. And he imagined his own funeral. He, the injured husband, lies in his coffin with a gentle smile on his lips, and she, pale, tortured by remorse, follows the coffin like a Nebo, not knowing where to hide herself to escape from the withering, contemptuous looks cast upon her by the indignant crowd. I see, monsieur, that you like Miss Smith and Wesson make, the shopman broke up upon his broodings. If you think too dear, it is too dear, very well. I'll knock off 5 rubles, but we have other makes cheaper. Little Frenchified figure turned gracefully, and took down another dozen of cases of revolvers from the shelf. Here, monsieur, price 30 rubles. That's not expensive, especially as the rate of exchange has dropped terribly, and the custom duties are rising every hour. Monsieur, I vow I am a conservative, but even I am beginning to murmur. Why with the rate of exchange and the custom tariff? Only the rich can purchase firearms. There's nothing left for the poor but Tula weapons and phosphorus matches. And Tula weapons are a misery. You may aim at your wife with a Tula revolver and shoot yourself through the shoulder blade. Sigaev suddenly felt mortified and sorry that he would be dead, and would miss seeing the agonies of the traitress. Revenge is only sweet when one can see and taste its fruit. And what sense would there be in it if he were laying in his coffin, not knowing about it? Hadn't I better do this? He pondered. I'll kill him, then I'll go to his funeral and look. And after the funeral, I'll kill myself. They'd arrest me though, before the funeral, and take away my pistol. And so I'll kill him, she'll remain alive, and I, for the time, I'll not kill myself, but go and be arrested. I shall always have time to kill myself. There will be this advantage about being arrested, that at the preliminary investigation I shall have an opportunity of exposing the authorities and the public all the infamy of her conduct. If I kill myself, she may, with her characteristic duplicity and impudence, throw all the blame on me, and society will justify her behavior, and will very likely laugh at me. If I remain alive, then... A minute later he was thinking, yes, if I kill myself, I may be blamed and suspected of petty feeling. Besides, why should I kill myself? That's one thing. And for another, To shoot oneself is cowardly, and so I'll kill him and let her live, and I'll face my trial. I shall be tried, and she will be brought in court as a witness. I can imagine her confusion, her disgrace, and when she's examined by my counsel. The sympathies of the court, of the press, and of the public will certainly would be me. While he deliberated, the shopman displayed his wares, and felt it incumbent upon him to entertain his customer. "Here are English ones, a new pattern, only just arrived," he pattered. "But I warn you, monsieur, all these systems pale beside Smith & Wesson. The other day, I dare say you have read, an officer bought from us a Smith & Wesson. He shot his wife's lover, and would you believe it, the bullet passed through him, pierced the bronze lamp, then the piano, and ricocheted back from the piano, killing the lamp dog and bruising the wife. A magnificent record redounding to the honor of our firm. The officer is now under arrest. He will no doubt be convicted and sent into penal servitude. In the first place, our penal code is quite out of date, and secondly, monsieur, the sympathies of the court are always with the lover. Why is it? Very simple, monsieur. The judges and the jury, the prosecutors, and the counsel for the defense are all living with other men's wives, and it will add to their comfort that there will be one husband the less in Russia. Society would be pleased if the government were to send all the husbands in Charlene. Oh, monsieur, you don't know how it excites my indignation to see the corruption of morals nowadays. To love other men's wives is as much the regular thing to do as to smoke other men's cigarettes and to read other men's books. Every year our trade gets worse and worse. It doesn't mean that wives are more faithful, but that husbands resign themselves to their position and are afraid of the law and penal servitude. The shopman looked around and whispered, "And whose fault is it, monsieur?" "The government's." "To go to Charlene for the sake of a pig like that? There's no sense in that either," Sigaev pondered. "If I go to penal servitude, it will only give my wife an opportunity to marry again, and deceiving a second husband. She would triumph, and so I will leave her alive. I won't kill myself. Him, I won't kill either. I must think of something more sensible and more effective. I will punish them with my contempt, and I will take divorce proceedings that will make a scandal." "Here, monsieur, is another make," said the shopman, taking down another dozen from the shelf. "Let me call your attention to the original mechanism of the lock." In view of his determination, a revolver was now of no use to Sigaev, but the shopman, meanwhile, getting more and more enthusiastic, persisted in displaying his wares before him. The outraged husband began to feel ashamed that the shopman should be taking such a trouble on his account for nothing, that he should be smiling, wasting time, displaying enthusiasm for nothing. "Very well. In that case," he muttered, "I'll look in again later on, or I'll send someone." He didn't see the expression of the shopman's face, but to smooth over the awkwardness of the position a little he felt called upon to make some purchase. But what should he purchase? He looked around the walls of the shop to pick up something inexpensive, and his eyes rested on a green net hanging near the door. What's that?" he asked. "It's a net for catching quills." "And what is the price?" 8 rubles, monsieur. Wrap it up for me. The outraged husband paid his 8 rubles, took the net, and feeling even more outraged, walked out the shop.